What's up, YouTube? This is six-figure Medicare agent Christian Brindle, and I have an unbelievable guest with me today. I have Nick Frumkin with me, who is the host of the YouTube channel, The Insurance Panel. Well, one of the two hosts that merged together, which is, I actually enjoy watching it. I watch a lot of your guys' content. The last video I saw was when you had Justin on.
Yes.
It was a really, really good conversation about, difference between Medicare sales, final expense. So thank you so much for taking the time.
Oh gosh, absolutely. And yeah, that was a fun conversation. I wish we'd had a little bit more time that day. It ended up getting cut a little bit short, which I don't know, maybe it's pretty good. Like YouTube likes short videos. So who knows? But yeah, it was but I like talking to people who do insurance-y type things because I'm a big old nerd when it comes to that kind of stuff. So that's it's always fun.
Well, you and I both, my friend. That's why I think it's going to be such a great conversation. And I'm really happy that we were able to do this and have you come on. I mean, so this is the first interview kind of collaboration we've done on this channel so far. Channel's only like 2 or 3 weeks old, so I'm really flattered that you wanted to come on. We're going to be having some other people coming on in the next month or two that I'm really excited about too. It seems like every time I talk to you, David Duford's coming on like 2 weeks later.
Yeah, excellent. I like that Dave's following me around.
Yeah, I know. It's like we got Cody Askins coming on in February, and Nick Williams, and just a lot of really good people.
Cody's a good guy too.
But there's few people we could come on and start out with better than Nick Frumkin.
Thanks.
So when I think about you, Nick, I think about your story as being incredibly interesting to me. You're someone that started as a teacher, transitioned into being an agent. For anybody that doesn't know your story, talk a little bit about it. How you made the transition, what made you want to make the transition? How did that all go?
So just like really nutshell version. My background, my education, my degrees are in theater arts. And after a while, I ended up getting married and wanting to have children and deciding that a job where I was working mostly from 5 o'clock in the evening until 3 o'clock in the morning wasn't the most conducive to a family life. And so I went looking for a day job, and teaching is just kind of what you do if you leave theater. And I didn't really give it a lot more thought than that. And so I went and I got a master's degree in teaching and got certified to go teach, and found out that there's not a lot of job market for theater teachers. Turns out. So I cobbled together for a couple of years, like 3 to 4 part-time teaching jobs, like doing that for a while, and liked teaching. I liked working with kids. I did not like having a day job. I wasn't used to it. I started off my professional career being a 1099 employee, working for myself as a freelance theater person. And it was difficult for me to transition to having a boss and needing to file paperwork and having to report to parents and all that kind of stuff. It was tricky stuff. On top of that, between my 4 jobs, I was making like $30,000 a year, which is not a lot of money for a lot of jobs. And so a little more than that, but still not a lot of money for a lot of jobs. And so kind of my family came to a breaking point, and we decided we were going to move to a different state for a variety of unrelated reasons. And when we moved, I had the choice. I could renew my teaching certification and go back to doing that loop of various teaching jobs, or I could try something different. And I really didn't want to go back to doing the loop of various teaching jobs, and I needed to find something different. My father is in the insurance industry, as is yours. I kind of grew up with the insurance industry in my life. He does very different stuff than what I do. He works in the 403B market, and has since the late 70s, early 80s, before I was born. And So I kind of grew up around that whole culture. And so as I was looking for something else to do with my life, that's just kind of what I fell into. It's getting long-winded. So I ended up going and working for a insurance company for a little while. And then after I spent a little while working for that one particular insurance company, I was essentially recruited away to become an independent agent. I was doing mostly Medicare sales for that particular insurance company. But it was mostly working with people in their, because it was largely Medicare sales, it was 60 and up. Also working with people in their 50s doing non-Medicare but related types of things, health insurance things, and the occasional life insurance cross-sale. And this guy came to me and he said, hey, listen, he and I had worked together at the insurance company, and he'd left a little while back. And he said, hey, listen, I'm working in final expense now, and what we're doing is exactly what we used to do at that insurance company, working with the same type of people, same income demographics, same everything. But we're not tied to one company, and you get paid like way more.
Tenfold.
Yeah, and he wasn't even offering me a particularly good contract. It was like mind-blowingly more. Yeah. I think I was making like 35% on a life insurance sale at the insurance company. Yeah, so he was offering me
But in comparison, you probably thought you were like, "Wow, this is awesome."
Right? Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And I went and I did a ride along with him, and I was like, man, this is easy. I can do this. And I kind of saw what he was doing, and he took me down into Philadelphia, and we knocked on doors, and I was like, it's not that different from what I'm doing already. And then I went to go meet his boss, and meeting his boss was the best thing that ever happened to me, because his boss was somebody that I instantly disliked. And I disliked him enough that I said to my friend, hey, Todd, this sounds like a good opportunity, but I don't think I can work with your group, because if I have to talk to that guy every day, I'm going to kill myself. And ended up finding FEX Contracting, and ended up hooking up with them and getting better contracts, and training and support and all sorts of good stuff. But being an independent broker has ended up being a very good thing for me. But I've always still done the Medicare stuff, because that's really what brought me into things. Over time, it's kind of shifted away from Medicare Supplement and more into Medicare Advantage. It's kind of just how the demographics that I'm working with kind of is gone. But it's been good.
Hey, well, I love it. I mean, it's amazing. I remember when I first came into the business, and I started out getting my health license, kind of opposite of Matt Murray, where he has his life license, not his health license. I started out with a health license, and then in year 2, I got my life license. I kind of did them separately, kind of like he did. And but I remember when I first got my life license and working with my dad. My dad's been an agency owner since the late 80s, early 90s, and so he got us proper contracts and everything like that. We were lucky to kind of start out right from that get-go. With our final expense plans, making sure we were getting the top commission we could with good companies and all that stuff. But I remember there was somebody that was a friend of mine that was in Primerica at the time. To recruit me and my business partner here, and try to get us to do Primerica as well as what we were doing, or something like that.
Right.
And I remember, he brought us his upline person, and she comes in and she's like, we offer amazing commission. It's like, we offer like 45% commission, 60%. And I was like, my commission's like more than double that. You know what I mean? Like, why would I do this? You know what I mean?
Right. How does this make any sense for me?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, God, recruiting stuff is so hilarious. Primerica people love Medicare agents, by the way. Like I have been invited to many a Primerica like opportunity meeting, with being told that I'm coming to pitch the Primerica agents on helping them like unlock money through Medicare savings. And then it always ends up turning around to being like, we will definitely work with you if you sign this Primerica contract.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, we'll do that all. Oh, well, it's not for me. I think cash value life insurance has a place in the world, but,
Sure. As
as
does everything almost, though, doesn't it?
yeah, right. Like they're all good. Like term, there's tons of opportunities and reasons to have term. Just not for everybody.
Right. Yeah. So, what I was really curious about is that, with someone with your background that's really kind of started out doing the Medicare sales, and then when you became independent, you really started to focus on the life insurance side of things. Mm-hmm. Do you think it's a good idea for new agents to come right in and have a focus on selling both at the same time? Or do you think it's better for agents to kind of focus on one side and then add the other later? What do you think about that?
No, I think it's good to get licensed for both right away. I think it's good if you're going to get if you're in a state where you can get a life and health license together as a single license, do it. It makes your life easier. And there is really no reason why down the line you shouldn't have both of them. Like you're cutting yourself off from opportunities if you don't have both licenses eventually, right? But what was it, Justin? If you go and watch our YouTube video with Justin, he says something. Justin Brock. He says something along the lines of, "Medicare is the hardest product to learn and the easiest one to sell," and I feel like that's very, very accurate.
Yeah, there's a lot of wisdom in that.
Yeah, the flip side is kind of true with final expense. Final expense is so easy to learn, and it is very difficult to sell. Mm-hmm. You have to have genuine sales skills to be able to sell final expense. But the product knowledge and training is like, it's very easy. It's like, it's a policy that when you die, it pays. That's pretty much all you need to know. Like, you don't need to know any more than that. It is difficult because of that to get going on both at the same time, because you're learning different things at the same time. So like you're having to really hone like sales skills, and working on objection rebuttals and things like that to become a good final expense agent. Whereas you have to spend a lot of time with product knowledge and understanding the ins and outs of Medicare and really nailing how it works. Because if you know less than your prospect when you're sitting down with them, you are in trouble.
You're screwed.
Oh my gosh, so terrible. And like the worst thing in the world, I remember one of my very first Medicare appointments, I sat down with somebody, and I'd only been, the company that I was with made you get AHIP certified to sell Medicare supplement policies for weird compliance reasons.
Interesting.
Yeah, in retrospect, I'm not really sure why, but, yeah. But I'd only been certified to sell Medicare supplement policies with them for like a week or two. And I sat down, and I don't even remember what it was that I said, but I sat down and I said something about how Medicare works, and the prospect looked at me and just said, "That's not true. That's not how that works." Yeah. I said, no, I'm pretty sure. And they're like, "No, it's definitely not true." And they went and got their Medicare and U-book and opened it up to the page where they had it flagged, and they were like, "This is what this says, and this is not what you just said."
And they schooled you.
Yeah. And I went, "Oh, okay, well," and that's the last time that ever happened. But
we've all had that happen at the beginning.
Yeah. And so you want to never be in that situation with Medicare sale. Mm-hmm. It's hard to learn how to do both at the same time because they're not the same thing. The other thing that's weird and sort of tricky is underwriting for Medicare supplement policies is very similar but different from life insurance. Morbidity mm-hmm. and mortality are not the same thing. And the fact that somebody seems really, really, really healthy but is going to physical therapy 5 times a week is a knockout on a Medicare supplement policy. And you can place the money where you want on a final expense life insurance policy. Nobody cares, Yeah. I think most agents probably should learn how to do both at some point. If you're going to be selling to seniors as your market, I think you need to know about the things that are important to that market as a whole. even if you're not going to sell it necessarily, you need to at least understand it. Like, you need to understand how Medicaid rules work. Whether if you're a final expense agent, Medicare agent, you need to know how Medicaid works, how food stamps work. You need to know who your state Department of Aging is, and like what they do and what they don't do, and what kind of stuff they can help your clients with and what they can't. You need to have an understanding of that kind of stuff. And I'm showing my bias a little bit towards low income people, because I mostly work with low income people, but similar things in the higher end of the spectrum. So yeah, you need to know
LIS and all that stuff. Yeah, I mean, they're things that I think everybody, the people on Medicare, should educate themselves on, because it opens themselves up to year-round selling also, especially if you're doing final expense and special needs plans and things like that.
Absolutely. And what I've told, every final expense agent that I know who's decided they want to go into Medicare is a final expense client is almost always going to be eligible for a special election period. I mean, not 100% of them, but like 80% of them. They're almost all eligible for some level of LIS. They're not all dual eligible, but you're going to be able to enroll them once a quarter in something. And
it's amazing how often those people that you run into, you take a look at their plan, and especially if you're in a market that's very rich in Medicare Advantage. Let's say they're not on Medicaid and they're just LIS, like you said, but let's say they're on a Medicare Advantage plan and you're in a Medicare Advantage heavy market. It's amazing how often that they're not on the best plan for them.
Oh yeah.
Probably 7 to 8 out of 10.
I would say 6 out of 10 people that I talk to have never shopped their policy since they signed up.
Crazy.
Yeah. Like, I talk to them and I'm like, have you ever spoken to an agent again? No. Have you ever changed your policy? Have you ever looked for a new policy? No. For like 6 out of 10, easy. Have just never, they signed up when they turned 65 and that was it. And they were in it and they were done.
Yeah.
On like really old, outdated plans. Sometimes I switch people off plans because they're complaining that the price on their Medicare Advantage plan has gone up to like $120 a month. And like, no, there's no reason to be on a Medicare Advantage plan that's $120 a month. No plan is that good.
Yeah, I mean, there's just no reason for it. I mean, there's 2 plans in particular that come to mind in my home market in Utah. Through, starts with Blue. And these 2 plans came out in about 2005-6ish range. They were some of the first Advantage plans here in Utah in the market, and they haven't canceled. They haven't gone away, and they've deteriorated, to say the least, over the years. Yeah. One of them has fluctuated anywhere between $60 a month and $90 a month, back and forth over the years. But the other one is the one that kills me. It's $190-something a month, and you're out. And it's got like a $5,000 max out of pocket. The benefit is any better than the $0 plan benefits.
Right.
But we run into people constantly, even now, going into 2020, that have these plans. And, I think, and even a new agent could trip into one of those and write it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and that's the thing. Like, it's just knowing enough to ask the question, knowing enough to ask, have you had anybody review your stuff with you recently? And if they say no, if you want somebody to review your stuff, I'd be happy to review it with you. That's, and that's all compliant. That's all stuff that you're allowed to talk to people. And if they're your clients, because they've just bought a life insurance policy from you, it's super compliant. Have them sign the scope, come in a couple days. Like, it's not a big deal.
And life insurance is a great way to get in the door too for Medicare clients, because, like you said, then they're your client. Then you can contact them. Then you can, it's not unsolicited contact at that point. But
exactly.
What kind of leads are you working now, Nick? Like, how do you get in front of people right now?
So I work final expense direct mail leads. They get me in front of the type of person that I want to see. It's not the least expensive lead that's available. And I am talking to some people who are in similar situations that I am, and they're starting to run, excuse me, they're starting to run primarily Medicare leads. I don't know how I feel about that. I'm going to kind of watch other people do that for a little bit and see. I've done direct mail Medicare leads as a primary lead source for a while. So I feel like at least the ones that I was running were not getting me in front of the right type of final expense prospect.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, that's still the first person that I want to see. I still want to do the final expense first, for a lot of reasons, a lot of it having to just do with my own comfort level.
Mm-hmm.
So I run direct mail final expense leads. They cost like $29 a lead.
Which is pretty good.
Yeah, it's not bad. There's definitely like good leads out there that are like $30, $32, $33 a lead. If you're paying a lot more than that, that's tricky. But that's not bad. And I get 25 a week. I go out and I probably get myself in front of about half of them every week. And I ask everybody about whether or not they've got a Medicare supplement policy and if they've had anybody review their Medicare. I ran into I can literally yesterday, I ran into a person who her daughter had sent in a card, for her mom, had me come out, and she said, my mom's a mess. She keeps answering the phone for all of these telemarketing phone calls, and she keeps buying life insurance, and I just need somebody to go through this all with us and figure out what the heck is going on.
Yeah.
And it turns out that she's on Medicaid. She's paying $500 a month for various life insurance policies. She has an Aetna dual eligible Medicare Advantage plan. And in 2012, she signed up for a Plan G. Yes. And so, you go through and you help people sort that sort of thing out. We're going to see if the insurance company is going to give her back any money. Well, I don't know. They might. They think that they will give her back the money if it turns out that she signed up for the Medicare Advantage plan after she signed up for the Plan G. I'm not really sure.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
That's a weird situation, though.
It's a weird situation. She's paying $169 a month for a Plan G that she does not in any way need.
Yeah. I mean, that's just madness,
Yeah.
Medicaid, there's no point there.
No. So, it made absolutely no sense. I mean, and she's completely cash strapped at this point also. She's living with her daughter. She doesn't have very many expenses, but she's still, she's on Medicaid. It's not like she's got $600 a month to be thrown around to various insurances.
Yeah. I mean, for someone on Medicaid, paying $160 something a month for their plan is probably like to someone in even the middle class paying $1,000 or $2,000 a month.
Oh, yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, well, my question is, because I remember seeing an interview you did with Dave actually a little while back on Dave's, and I don't know how old it was, but I found it very interesting because you mentioned the final expense direct mail leads, and you kind of talked about how I think you said you called them. Wasn't it that you called them on the weekends, made appointments for earlier in the week, and then you took a couple of days to yourself? Was it? Am I remembering that?
No, that's right. I still do that. My schedule's probably shifted a little bit because as my kid gets older, my schedule shifts around what my kid needs. She's 10 now though, so she needs a lot less than she did a couple of years back.
Yeah.
I call Saturday for Monday, and I set a long day of appointments on Monday, and everybody in my life knows if you want to talk to me, don't try Monday.
Yeah.
I'm on all day long.
Strapped.
Then Tuesday is an office day. I typically will set some appointments for Wednesday then, but other than that, that's it. I usually have a fair amount of time on Tuesdays. Wednesday I go run what's a short day of appointments, which is like a 6 to 8 hour day. And then Thursday usually I'm off. Sometimes I have to go out and work on Thursday also. It sort of depends on how Monday and Wednesday went. It's not a hard and fast rule that I'm off, but usually Thursday's flexible. Do things like deliver policies, do service work, run rescheduled appointments and referrals, and but it's usually pretty low key. And then I don't work outside of the house on Friday at all. Do stuff like this.
Yeah.
This is what I do with my Fridays. So
hey, well, I find that so fascinating to me, though, because there's so many people in the industry, and I was brought up being taught this too, that you absolutely had to set your appointments for later on in the week and spend Monday and Tuesday making calls to set up the appointments. But I mean, what I feel that a lot of agents don't quite get the grasp of, at least starting out, is it doesn't matter when you set the appointments. It doesn't matter when you call to make the appointments. As long as you have a routine and a system that works for you, you can set up, you can do your appointments anytime and you can call for them anytime.
Yeah.
It's really your own schedule.
Yeah. And I think that's the key, is you have to have the set routine. You have to know, you have to have a system, and you can't be making up your system and changing your system on the fly. And where every week it's something different. But having that set routine, I can I know what I'm doing every Monday. I know Monday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. You're not getting a hold of me. I'm not doing anything other than going and running appointments. I know Wednesdays I'm not booking stuff in the middle of the day, but I'll be home by 5:30, 6 o'clock every Wednesday, just in case I need to set appointments for Thursday. That's all really consistent stuff. And having that kind of consistency is really important, and probably just as important with Medicare sales as it is with anything else. It's really easy when you work for yourself to fall into the trap of, hey, nobody's telling me what to do, so I can do anything I want. Mm-hmm. And that's not a good idea. It's just not. I take a lot of time off. I take a lot of vacation time. I am a strong believer in mental health days. And I was taught early in my career of working for myself that, if you want to work as hard as you possibly can when you are working, you need to make sure that you have downtime that is downtime and that you are off. And it was actually suggested to me that every 12 weeks you take 4 days just completely off, leave your house, go someplace else, leave. Which is maybe a lot. I don't know. I'm looking at my calendar earlier today, and I've got 38 or 40 days of vacation already booked for the year. So,
but that's what you work hard for.
Yeah, right.
Exactly. To be able to, not have to ask permission to go on vacation, not have to request days off. And, if Sally Joe, requested it off before you did, you can't go,
Right.
That's why we do what we do, to have that privilege to kind of work when we want to work and, and set our own schedule, our own routine, our own lifestyle.
And it's not like I'm just taking time off willy-nilly. It's scheduled into my life. I know when those vacations are coming. And then I plan the rest of my schedule around that. And I still have my production goals. Just because I'm taking, there is no excuse. I'm taking, 35 days off this year, so I have 1 month less to work. Well, that doesn't mean I can make 1 month less money. It just means I have to make the same number of sales in a shorter period of time, and I need to. Right. You got to be scheduled so you can do that.
I think it puts you in a perspective too, where efficiency is really the target. More not necessarily so much the hours you're working every week or every month or everything like that, but how much can I get done in 1 hour opposed to 10, or how much can I get done, in 40, 50 hours a week for a couple weeks and then make it up by not having to work the 2 weeks after that. I think efficiency is really something that agents don't talk about enough. I hear a lot of agents talk about, I worked 80 hours this week, but what did you really get done?
Right. And did you really you were at work for 80 hours, but how much were you really working?
Yeah. You're talking to your coworkers. Were you talking to the the other agents in the office? Were you sitting by the water cooler, yucking it up, or were you actually working?
Right. Yeah. Were you actually sitting with people, talking to people? Like it would be difficult to spend 80 hours a week actually giving sales presentations, making sales, doing paperwork, and I guess occasionally talking to insurance companies and doing follow-up calls. Like, that's a lot of sales presentations.
Yeah.
That's a lot of sales presentations every week,
Yep.
But a lot of time gets wasted. I try to be very activity oriented in my goals. I have a minimum income threshold that I need to hit in order to pay my bills, and I'm not going to pretend like I don't pay attention to that at all. I do, but the biggest goal that I focus on when I'm scheduling myself is just the number of presentations I'm giving every week. Have I given 12 presentations based on my closing numbers and my average premium and everything else that I need? I know that if I'm giving 12 presentations a week, I'm hitting all my goals. The way that I like to work is I like to have a lot of time off during the week, which is why my Mondays are long. I try and stack my Mondays so there is a strong possibility that I can give 10 presentations by the end of the day Monday. Well, then I only need to find 2 more presentations for the rest of the week. That's pretty easy.
Yeah. I mean, and that's a strong Monday,
Yes. Now, I don't often hit 10 presentations on a Monday. That's a lot. But if you're shooting high, you're shooting for 10 presentations and you get 9 or 8 or 7 or even 6.
That's still fantastic.
Yeah, you're doing great.
I mean, you shoot for the stars, you'll land on the moon.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of wisdom in that, and I think. Have you ever read The 4 Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss?
I've not, but I've heard of The 4 Hour Workweek.
You'd love it. You'd love it. I really think you would, because it's all about that kind of mindset of getting more done in less time, and living the lifestyle you want with still being able to make money while doing it. It's a little outdated from what it was written, because it was written probably over 10 years ago, but you'd love it. I think it's right.
Well, I'll check it out. That sounds fun. Because that's the whole thing, right? That was my very first sales manager at the insurance company. Drilled that into our heads is, you've got to get Monday right, because 9 a.m. on Monday, it's sand through an hourglass. You've got your time is ticking and you're in a race. And you only have until Friday at 5, and then you're done. You either won or you lost.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of truth in that. Well, I want to be respectful of your time, Nick. This is you spending your day off with me is probably not what you want to do all day, but one last question I got for you. So if there's a new agent watching this, let's say they're just brand new to the business, they just got their license, what would you say is the main thing that they can do? Nobody knows who they are. They don't got any referrals coming in or anything like that. What is the number one thing they can do to get in front of prospects and get in front of clients effectively? If you have to guess.
Buy leads.
True. Very true.
And if you don't have money to buy leads, buy a list. If you don't have money to buy leads, especially with Medicare stuff, especially if you're prospecting for Medicare supplements. Can't do this if you're prospecting for Medicare Advantage. But if you're prospecting for Medicare supplements, buy a list. Almost all lead companies will sell you a data list for any area that you want, and it will have lots and lots and lots and lots of names on it, and you can cold call.
Yeah. And for cheap.
It's cheap. It's not my favorite thing to do, but it's effective. It's hard work. And then you'll have enough money to be able to buy leads.
Yeah. Well, it's so funny you say that. I just put out a video a week ago about how to cold call as a Medicare agent. And when I put that video up, my inbox started blowing up on Facebook with questions. Like, where do you get this list? I'm like, where can't you get the list? Anyway,
lists are easy.
I gave them some names of some companies we got lists before. I'm like, they're not hard to come by. And they're like, no. And they're like, how much does this list cost? I'm like, depends on how big your state is, how big you're working, but it's not going to be much. It's going to, but it's just amazing, because that's how I started out. when, I didn't have any money for leads, marketing, anything like that. Nobody knew who I was. That's how I started out. My first 3 years, I think, almost, I'd say 80% of my business came from cold calling. And not fun. It's dirty work, but it's effective.
It is. It's effective. And it's, and it's one of those things that's also super activity. Like that's just nothing but activity driven, because you have no control over who you're getting on the other end of. You knock on that door, you call that person on the phone. You don't know who's answering. They may be a terrible prospect. That's not your fault. Just go on to the next person.
Right.
And cold calling really teaches you that. Like, it really teaches you, like, the outcome of the meeting is not nearly as much in your control as you think it's going to be. The start of the meeting is. So start a lot of meetings. Get through as many meetings as you can. Some people are going to buy.
Yeah, it's just a numbers game at the end of the day. Nick, quickly talk about the insurance panel. Talk about the channel. Where can people find you guys? What kind of content do you put out?
So the insurance panel, we are a final expense-oriented panel of people. It's run by myself and Matthew Murray. And the idea behind it was we wanted to create a channel that was kind of almost like a sports night for final expense sales, where you sort of have a couple of people coming on and just talking about a given topic, and Matt is more or less the host, with Vince Connell is on there with us right now, acting as one of our experts, and he's our regular kind of recurring guest host, and I'm on there kind of adding, I guess, color commentary, if we're going to keep it with the sports analogy. And we bring guests on and we interview people, and we have a lot of really good, very reality-based conversations about selling final expense insurance. We try and keep them sort of casual and freewheeling, and hopefully they're fun. And apparently I'm getting a phone call, and it's ringing on my computer. I don't know if you can hear that on your end.
Slightly. No worries. Well, yeah, I mean, I think it's a great channel. I've seen a couple of your guys' videos, and I think they're great. If anybody wants to check out the Insurance Panel channel, I'll leave a link down to it in the description of this video. Check it out. I highly encourage it. It's good content. I mean, in my opinion, you guys, I think the more time you spend feeding your brain content that's going to keep you motivated, give you ideas, inspire you, kind of show you where people can be, where you can get to the place where a Nick Frumkin or a Matt Murray is, in their business and achieve the success they've had. It's better for you to watch that than to spend time sitting all day watching sitcoms. I can tell you that. So go check out the channel. Nick, thank you so much for your time and spending.
Oh, thanks for having me. It was fun.
Hey, it was great. We'll do it again soon.
Absolutely.
Thanks everybody for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video, if you got some value out of it, please do us a favor. Drop a like, drop a comment in the comment section what you'd like to see in future videos, and subscribe. Talk to you soon.